Welcome back to this course Ergonomic Workplace Evaluation. Today we will be talking about assessment of physical job demand. So, let us understand what is physical job demand. When we are in the workplace, we are interacting with different physical elements. How we are going to analyze or understand the interaction between human being and those components and the demands of the posture or the physical aspects of those components, that will be coming or we will be discussing under physical job demands. So, the physical interface with the workplace, like force exerted by particular group of muscle, kind of energy we are using, body posture that we are going to adapt. Throughout all these things, what kind of discomfort, fatigue, injuries we are getting or adapting, those assessment and how it is going to help for further intervention, we will be discussing those aspects here. So, job demand range from postural adaptation, because when suppose I am using a particular instrument, how I am adapting my posture to operate that particular instrument. High biomechanical stress, like when we are talking about posture, we are definitely talking about different biomechanical aspects of it. Then physiological demand, high force requirement, it is absolutely present, it is very much present in the kind of environment we are discussing or we are interacting. So, contact stresses from protective clothing, sometimes it happens we are wearing some protective clothing, but we are getting lot of reverse information from that. Like just take an example, we are wearing a goggles to protect from glare. So, the demand of the instrument is it should fit with with my eyes, right. Now, when wearing that, what is the contact stress is generating over here or somewhere here. So, we do not know. So, how I am going to analyze it. So, these are kind of things always happen when we are wearing different types of protective clothing. So, sometimes it is not there, sometimes it is there, then we need to understand how we are going to evaluate it. So, we will be discussing them. Various types of tools, equipment that we are going to use always. Suppose I am using a computer mouse, how that computer mouse is interacting with my wrist or with my this particular portion of my hand. So, how I am going to analyze those stress or force exerted while working. So, these are we will be considering in the physical job demand evaluation. So, basic tool, if we talk about physical job demand evaluation or assessment, basic tool mainly includes tape measures, like you have measuring tape, video camera, stopwatch, digital camera, laptop computer, spring gauge and many others, something like this. Also, we can do some kind of direct measurements like grip dynamometer, push pull force sensor, pinch dynamometer, heart rate monitor, EMG, etc. So, we can measure those also. Okay. So, there are varieties of instruments, varieties of variables are present which we are going to use during our evaluation or assessment process. It is not really possible to explain each one of them, but we will be trying to cover what are majorly used instrument or majorly used variables in ergonomic workplace assessment. Further, with the observation direct measurement, we have some techniques that comes under observational techniques such as ruler, reva, very commonly used names, right. Then lifting equation, discomfort map, we will be talking few of them about the use, their process and the context where we are going to use all these things in this particular day of lecture. So, let us start with the direct measurement. What it is? In this particular case, instruments are used because we are talking about direct. Okay. So, we are going to use some kind of instrument to measure different physical exposure of workplace. Okay. So, there are varieties of physical exposures we have. So, we are going to measure directly using some kind of instruments. So, direct measurements have some kind of advantage. What are these? These are like whenever we are using direct measurement, these are very precise, okay, because we are using instrument to measure some variables from the physical components. Also, the result whatever we are getting from these instruments or these techniques are objective in nature, and it allows us to varieties of quantitative analysis, which is very important many a times in our research area. However, these instruments are very expensive. Okay. So, individual researchers, when we are doing research individually, maybe at our own laboratory, it needs real funding, very important. So, big laboratories only can afford to have this type of instrument. So, it is a that is major constraint to use this type of direct measurement techniques, because the kind of instrument we will be using is very costly in nature. Also, it needs time. Okay. So, whenever we start using this kind of instrument, we need proper time, we need proper experiment setup to use this. Also, sometimes we need that each variables or each instrument, how to use it, how to analyze, collect that data and analyze that data, that needs little training, as well as you should be well accustomed with the whole system, then only you will be able to collect and analyze the data properly. So, it needs elaborate setup. So, that is also very important aspect. Also, when we are talking about instrument, definitely it needs periodic maintenance and calibration, which is very important aspect, because if the instrument is not calibrated properly, you will not get data, sufficient good data. Also, it needs proper maintenance, because there are lot of sensors we will be using in the instrument. So, sensor need to be maintained and well like stored in a right way. So, those are the important aspect when we are talking about direct measurement. So, now let us start with small and then little we will take you further. Of course, when we are talking about instrument over here, we will be in our laboratory experiment we will be showing few of them, not all, because the whole course timing is very minimum. So, we will not be able to describe all. So, we will be describing few of them. Of course, if you have query for particular instrument, you can definitely return or write back to us or call back, so that we can explain those specific queries of your question. So, first I will talk about very frequently used instrument, that is the hand grip dynamometer. This particular instrument is working in the Pascal law principle. What it does, it determines the subject's maximum hand grip strength, okay, only the hand grip strength. Now, this hand grip strength hand grip dynamometer can be used for your own research, as well as this is very frequently used in clinical field like rehabilitation program. So, when somebody has some problem or injury or any kind of disorder in their grip strength or grip, what we supposed to do, we take measurement using a particular methodology, and we record that data and keep it with us. So, when we are talking about hand grip dynamometer, first we need to understand where we are going to use it. Okay. So, suppose we are designing a instrument where we need to understand what kind of grip strength we need or we are going to use for this particular instrument. So, there also we need to understand what kind of strength is possible by that particular population, there we can measure this type of instrument. Also in clinical field, this is very useful instrument, clinical research, where we are talking about rehabilitation program. When a person is having any injury or any kind of disorders in the wrist or the hand, what we do is we measure the strength, hand grip strength using this particular dynamometer, and then we start the rehabilitation program, and periodically we check how this is being increasing, the strength is being increasing or not. So, this is the major use of hand strength dynamometer. So, you can use for your routine screening also. Suppose there is a set of worker who are working in a particular job with their repeated hand movement or hand motion. So, you can have a periodic check or throughout the day also sometimes periodic check that is there any impact of that particular repetitive motion or the forceful exertion on the hand strength or grip strength or not. So, for that also we can use. So, based on your research area, based on your study area, you can find out where you are going to use this particular data. Also, there are some set of normative value like standard value, with that we can compare and tell yes how my data looks like. Now, the constraint is there are very limited set of data available in Indian context. So, there is an opportunity to gather data and we can publish for our future reference. Same as for your pinch gauge. So, this is again is being used on the basis of Pascal law, and what we do is we use or we measure tip pinch, key pinch and palmar pinch. These are the three varieties of pinch we use. So, what is where the sensor is? Here we have the sensor and we ask them to hold the instrument with their particular position based on tip pinch, key pinch or palmar pinch. Okay. What we do is this particular dial we set at 0, this particular key we set it at 0 and ask them to hold it or continue the pressure for 1 to 2 seconds, like then we ask them to release it. Once the pressure is being released, the pointer comes back to the normal and another pointer stays back there. Okay. So, then we can measure or we can record that value. So, that way we use pinch gauge. Now, this is the procedure what I have tried to jot it down for you. Now, another very important instrument that we normally use is the mechanical force gauges. This particular instrument is being used for pull or push, that is the major use of this particular instrument, and the reading is being recorded by pound, kg or Newton. This instrument is based on the Hooke's law. So, now I am not going to tell in detail of all these instruments. So, if you find this particular instrument is useful or this particular variable is useful for your research or your study, then you can study in detail, and then if you have any query you can call back us. This is very one of the important instrument when we are talking about the posture or angular movement. So, that this particular instrument named as goniometer. So, this is a medical goniometer and it is normally is being used for the range of motion. Okay. Range of motion means if you have a joint movement, so from which range to which range it is going to move, that particular range we are going to measure. Okay. Now, this is also being used in the clinical or medical field, and mainly for the rehabilitation program to understand the periodic development of the patient. Okay. Also we can use for our research purpose, like physical environment, physical the measurement of the particular workplace. Okay. So suppose I am going to design a particular workspace envelope. Now if I am talking about only sitting posture and my right hand movement, then how my arm is going to move and how I am going to accommodate all the required elements of my job within that particular envelope. So when I am going to discuss that, or when I am going to arrange that, we definitely need this type of instrument for our purpose. Now once we do this, also I should tell little bit about the physical environment like illumination, ventilation and all. So first I will talk about lux meter. This particular instrument is being used to understand the luminosity of the particular workplace. It is based on the photometric transducer, this particular principle they follow, and what it does, it try to measure the luminance of a particular workplace. Now here the question is where I should measure. The measurement of luminance should be on the work surface. Now I cannot really explain you for a particular, we cannot really determine okay this is the place or that is the place. Based on my requirement, based on the kind of or nature of workspace or workplace we have, we need to decide where we are going to measure the luminance. Okay. So suppose my main job is desk based and I am going to work or I am going to do some kind of assembly job at my desk. So I need illumination to measure on that particular desk. Now when I am talking about the classroom environment and one teacher is teaching, then I should understand what kind of visual clarity I have on the blackboard. Maybe if my objective is one of them, then I should understand that. Then I should again go and check back the level of illumination we have at the on the blackboard or the screen of your projector. Okay. So based on my requirement, the positions will be changing, so it cannot be fixed, but still there are varieties of standards available which says based on the work what amount of illuminance we need for a particular job. So once you collect your own data, then you can refer back to those standards. BIS is available, ISO is available, so you can go back and check with them and compare and recommend or change your design in such a way so that you reach to the required standard or benchmark. Same as for noise, the name of this instrument is sound level meter. This is only one make, there are varieties of make. So even this thing is applicable for other instrument, whatever I showed the picture, these are the things what we have in our laboratory. So I can show you those pictures only, but there are other makes also, so you can use any one of them based on your requirement. So this particular instrument is being used or is working on the principle of piezoelectric sensor. So what it does, it measure the sound that travels through the air. So this particular instrument, again it can be used for any industry, it can be used for environmental or noise level measurement. So here though both can be possible, one is your personal noise, another is for your area noise. So based on your study area, based on your requirement, you can decide and you can start collecting data. This is not only this is not the only one instrument, we have varieties sizes of instrument available as far as sound level meter is concerned. Now this is very interesting instrument. This is apart from that we have many other. We call it thermal environment meter. So let us talk about the thermal environment. So this is one instrument which measures air temperature, relative humidity and air speed. We have some instrument which can measure air temperature separately, dry and wet. Some instruments are there which can measure the air speed separately, but what we need actually is the different measurement of these variables, because when we are talking about thermal environment, as we discussed in the earlier presentation or earlier classes, that when we are talking about thermal environment we have varieties of indices, right, WBGT index, then ET and all those. So for that we need this type of instrument. Where we are going to use them? We can use wherever we need to understand the impact of thermal environment on the physical aspect of the worker, like productivity or the comfort or no kind of workflow they are doing. So if we need to understand those, we can use any one of these instruments. This is just only one, we have other instruments also to understand the air temperature, relative humidity and air speed. Now let us talk little bit about vibration. I think you must be knowing there are two types of major vibration, that is the hand arm vibration and whole body vibration, and we have one instrument that we call as vibration analyzer. There are varieties of make available based on the finance and the availability of the instrument. You can use any one of them. What exactly we do over here is the vibration. We measure the kind of vibration we have in the source, as well as how much it is getting transmitted towards your body, as well as we need to understand what kind of acceleration is happening. That we do with this particular instrument. If we get a chance to explore, then we will be discussing this one in the laboratory experiment part. Now these are what we discussed earlier, these are all direct measurement. Apart from that we have EMG, we have ECG, we have eye tracking system. There are varieties of direct measurement system available, right. So I just gave few of them to let you know that what type of them are available and how you can use it. So now once direct measurement you understood, let me tell little bit about the observational technique or indirect measurements. Okay. So by nomenclature itself you can understand what it is. It through your observation, through your discussion, you are going to analyze few of the variables which is important when you are talking about ergonomic workplace assessment. So when we do not have such kind of instrument direct measurement tools, then we are dependent on this type of observational technique. Also in many cases we have instrument, but we do not have scope to use it. Okay. So those cases also we need to use observational techniques. So what is the advantage of this? It's not that precision, like the precision rate is not that high, okay, as direct measurement has, but it is less exhaustive, like you do not need to have elaborate experimental setup. As this particular type of instrument or tool has subjective responses, we take care of subjective responses, then lot of participatory methods also is being taken care. So it is very important that we interact with the human who is actually working in the workplace. So understanding about their perception is less time consuming, very important. Most of the cases these are sensitive to the variables. Now just take an example. We are talking about thermal environment, physical thermal environment. We have instrument, we measured air temperature, air velocity, then humidity, and we found out the kind of impact we have on the temperature on the human body, or kind of indexes we have. So, is it good, bad, or whatever. Now, let us understand with that particular environment how a human being is giving or is perceiving that particular environment. Now, if you talk about a thermal environment where heat is little high, and through measurement we found it is not really conducive to work, but if you go and ask those people who are working on the field, they may not really give the exact similar responses how we found through the instrument. Why that happens? It happens because of acclimatization, right? Because the person is already adapted, because our physiology setup is already being modified according to that particular temperature. So, when we are going to do the design intervention or any ergonomic intervention, we really cannot only dependent on the instrumental measurement. We really also need to know the what kind of responses we have from those subjects who are working or who are actually been there in that particular environment. Therefore, subjective responses or these type of observational techniques are very, very important in certain cases. So, let us understand few of them. Whenever we are talking about ergonomic workplace evaluation, very important aspect is musculoskeletal disorder, right. So, to understand that we have varieties of questionnaire. I am naming here few of them, mainly Dutch musculoskeletal questionnaire, Nordic musculoskeletal questionnaire. There are many others, even there are some questionnaire which is very much body part specific, like low back or shoulder or hand wrist. Okay. So, there are varieties. So, again I am telling the same thing, that based on your requirement you should choose where and which tool to be used. There are job stress questionnaire which evaluates kind of job stress we have in the environment. Work style questionnaire, again one more instrument for musculoskeletal disorder is Cornell musculoskeletal discomfort questionnaire, very, very important. Michigan hand outcome questionnaire and many others. Okay. I am going to only mention few of them, and also some elaboration of only in Dutch and Nordic musculoskeletal questionnaire. So, subjective assessment tool, under that let us understand Dutch musculoskeletal questionnaire. It is developed in 2001, is not very old questionnaire. So, what it does? It talks about the self report. Okay. So, in the environment, in the workplace, there are people working, and you found we need to understand the status of the musculoskeletal health or the kind of prevalence we have in the in that particular area. So, we are going to ask the people who are working. So, it's, and we are going to take those responses. So, it talks about the self reported musculoskeletal workload and other associated hazardous working condition. Also, it helps to understand the related syndrome. So, syndromes may be, so there are some reports of particular disorder or particular phenomena or symptoms, then we are going to collect those data, as well as we are going to use Dutch musculoskeletal questionnaire, and we are going to associate them, or we are going to relate them. Then we are going to go back to their root cause analysis, and maybe once we find out, we analyze that and we interpret that, we may go for intervention. So, it helps us to navigate the source of problem. It is one of the most comprehensive survey measure. So, very important, it is very comprehensive. This particular Dutch musculoskeletal questionnaire is total, the whole one is consist of 9 pages, and each page has 25 questions. So, if we are going to conduct or if we are going to get survey from this particular questionnaire, it takes around 30 minutes to complete one set of questionnaire. Yes, it is time consuming, but it gives lot of details. So, depending on your case, you can choose this or you can choose any others. Nordic Musculoskeletal Questionnaire, it's very common name, and I think whoever is working in the field of ergonomics in the place of workplace evaluation, they are definitely they are going to use this particular Nordic Musculoskeletal Questionnaire. This particular questionnaire was developed by Nordic Council of Ministers. It was actually a funded project, and from that this particular questionnaire came out as a outcome. Here important thing is this particular questionnaire is not being developed for clinical diagnosis, okay. It is just subjective responses. So, we cannot use it just for a clinical diagnosis. So, very very important point what I would like to mention for you, because many times it happen that we are going to use this particular questionnaire, we are getting data and we found yes, this is a clinically diagnosed problem. No, this is not. This is just a response collected from the subject. Job stress questionnaire, this is being developed in 1975 by Kaplan. What it does? It's very important when we are talking about job stress, we need to know about the workload, work conflict and all those things. So, this particular questionnaire has major 4 components. First one is workload, role conflict, role ambiguity and underutilization of your ability. So, when we are talking about all these 4 factors or 4 components, all this thing is being analyzed or interpreted based on total 6-point Likert scale. First one is like the one it represents that I am strongly disagreeing with that particular question. Second, number 2, it's only disagree. 3, somewhat disagree, then somewhat agree, agree and strongly disagree. So, like that we have the intensity rating of those particular 13 items. Okay. So, based on that we are going to understand the value of workload, role conflict, role ambiguity and underutilization of your ability. So, with this maybe we can have some objective data and again we can correlate, we can go for a final result. So, these are not only the questionnaire, there are many others, okay. I am just giving some example. Now, when we do that, let us understand little bit about the posture evaluation also, because posture evaluation also sometimes it is subjective, like we are talking about observation, grading them and rating this posture is not good, this posture is okay, this posture is bad, okay, something like that. So, there are varieties of method available. Let me name them, few of them. One is WASH, RULA, REBA, Workplace Ergonomic Assessment, Risk Assessment, ROSA, QEC, Hand Activity Level and many others. I will explain few of them. Those are very commonly used, I will name them and rest you can find out. These all are available in any textbook and you can refer them, you can use them, and if you find any difficulties please contact back. So, first important, the very first work posture evaluation tool that is being used and is being modified further is the OVACU working posture analyzing tool. This is being developed in 1973. Yes, there was a company, that is an steel company, and the name of the company was OVACU, and based on their name this analysis tool named as OVACU work posture analysis tool. What it does? It identify the most common work posture for the back, arm, leg and the weight we are going to use or we are going to expose to that. Okay. So, these are the major components of this particular working posture, and based on that we have the intensity rating, the risk level, basically we call it for posture analysis. So, normal means we are okay with the posture, slightly harmful, distinctly harmful and extremely harmful. So, whenever we understand, yes, if the posture, working posture is normal, then we will say okay, we may continue the posture. But if we find harmful, yes, there is some problem. So, we need to find out that. Like that, if we go and go, then we will get distinctly harmful or extremely harmful. So, if it is extremely harmful, that means it says that we need to do any kind of intervention or any kind of changes in the work pattern immediately. So, this is just an indication tool that helps us to understand there is a requirement of posture modification. So, posture modification is only again associated with the workplace equipment modification, right. So, how we are going to do that? So, it helps us to understand what kind of which way we should go ahead. Similarly, we have Rula, which is only for sitting posture. Okay. When somebody is sitting, further we are in a sedentary job, there only we are going to use this particular tool. So, sedentary sitting posture job, we are going to use it. Okay. So, again here we have upper and lower arm, wrist and wrist twist, neck, trunk, legs. Further we have muscle use score, that helps to understand the repetition and force. Okay. So, using all these things we are going to get similar kind of result as was. This particular tool is developed in 1993 by McAtamney et al. Okay. One more important tool for posture evaluation is REBA, that is Rapid Entire Body Assessment System. It is very new, it is developed in 2000, again similar type of assessment. So, for all these assessment of posture, we have pre-computed table, we can go back to the literature, find out those table, you can get those value, and finally you can check the grading of your final risk score. So, once you understand what is the level of your final risk score, you tell that yes, there is a problem or there is no problem. Okay. So, that is the way you should use any posture evaluation tool. Here I named only 3. Now, let us talk little bit about job strain index. It is again developed by Murray and Garg. It talks only about the distal upper extremity. Okay. If you have found in from various sources or various problem that there is an issue with the distal upper extremity, you need to know how intensive that is. Okay. There you can use job strain index and you can find that level of intensity. Here we use total 6 variable. First one is intensity of exertion, duration of exertion, efforts per minute, hand wrist posture, speed of work and duration per day. Using all these variables, we have multipliers, and from the multiplier we calculate the SI score, that is the strain index. So, it is all the multiplication of these multipliers, and we have the intensity rating, pre-computed intensity rating. You compare your SI score with the referred SI score, and then you tell that where your strain index is and how you are going to design it or modify it. Okay. So, for the detailed paper you can refer Murray and Garg's 1995 that development paper, you will get all the method how to calculate or how to execute that. Once we are talking about strain index, definitely I should mention one important component or one important tool, that is the NIOSH lifting equation. This is basically a revised equation. From this particular equation, what we get is recommended weight limit. That means, when we are doing a lifting job or a lowering job, how much weight I should lift or lower for a particular situation. So, that is the use of this particular tool. Here again we have varieties, these are the variables: load constant, coupling multiplier, horizontal multiplier, vertical multiplier, distance multiplier, asymmetry multiplier, frequency multiplier. All these components you have very specific definitions. So, if you are interested, you can refer those definition, and based on those definition you can measure your measurement, and then you can use this particular formula, and you can find out what is recommended weight limit for that particular context. So, once you understand your recommended weight limit, you need to know that is it good or is it bad. So, for that you have a variable that is called lifting index. So, lifting index is actual weight what you are lifting or lowering right now divided by your recommended weight limit. So, if it is high, then it will be more than 1. So, then if it is more than 1, that means you are actually lifting more than what is recommended. So, what you should do? Either you should modify or any one of these factors, so that your recommended weight limit goes on the higher side, and you can accommodate the kind of load right now you are lifting is matching to that. If not possible, then you reduce the amount of load that you are lifting or lowering. So, this is the way how you should use the NIOSH lifting equation. But here if you see current situation, there are because of lot of mechanical instrumentation or mechanical tool, we are not really using lot of mechanical manual lifting or manual lowering. Still many places that is available. So, we need to use those only those cases, not everywhere. When we are talking about working in the particular environment, definitely we are getting a fatigue responses, right. So, how much I am getting exerted in a particular situation or particular context, we have some kind of scale which helps us to understand that is the perceived exertion. So, rating of perceived exertion. In the beginning it has been developed by Professor Borg in 1976, and further it has been modified in subsequent year. So, the first scale what we have, that starts with 0.6, it starts with 6 and ends at 20. The other scale which is being modified from this, it starts with 0.2 like 0.2 and then ends at 11, and finally not like extreme point of exertion. Okay. So, based on that you can definitely use any one of them. Majorly when we have physical exertion, we use this 6 to 20 scale. When we are sedentary, then we use this category, the second one, that is the category ratio scale. So, once we understood all these varieties, like varieties of scale. So, whatever I named, these are only not only the limit, you have n number of tools or techniques in terms of physical direct and indirect measurement available. Now, question is where you are going to use it and how you are going to use it. Again same point what I mentioned earlier, it absolutely based on your aim and objective of the study. Okay. The kind of context you are using this particular tool. So, study objective, study design, study context is very very important, that how you are going to choose those tool. It is recommended that once you choose any tool or any instrument for your particular study, first you do a small pilot experiment. You see that how data is behaving and how those data actually is representing or answering the kind of objective you already you are aiming to. So, once you finalize that part, you understand the pilot data, then you go for final analysis or final data collection or final experiment. Okay. So, it is always better you do all these important aspect or permutation combination of different technology. One more important thing is each tool is not validated or useful for each context. So, whenever you are using them, you please check the utility of those particular tool, maybe it is direct or indirect in your context. Okay. So, that is important aspect. Again I will be giving you some assignment, you can use through assignment and through your own understanding you can take up all these tool and many others, and you can find out how you are going to use it. So, once you finalize that, if you find okay, then you can start using. If you have any difficulties, you can write back and you will get that answer. So, these are the books normally we follow. It has all varieties of description in detail. So, you can refer this book, and of course, in the examination we will be taking few of the questions from this as well. Thank you.